I'm Jordan Hines, and this is a CTN special report. I'm here with Bishop Malooly. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Jordan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Of course.
What's your favorite thing about being a bishop?
Well, I've been a priest for 45 years, 15 of them as a bishop. I have to say that what's most important to any priest, really, is the celebration of Mass and also the celebration of the sacraments. In fact, if we didn't have priests, we wouldn't have a church. So that's important to me. What's especially nice for a bishop is I have a chance to ordain men to the priesthood, and then I also celebrate confirmations, and I work with youth for most of my 45 years as a priest and bishop, so that's very meaningful too. But I would say basically what is most important is the sacraments.
Do you get a day off?
Actually, I get hours off. It's hard to take a day off because of my schedule. My weekends, I usually do double headers of confirmations in two different parishes on Saturday and Sunday. And then like last night, I was out at the Catholic Charities event, so if I get a couple hours in the middle of the day or here or there, yeah, that's more than adequate.
What do you do on your days off, hours off?
I exercise. I have an exercise bike. I actually have to use the bike to keep my knees loose so I can genuflect. Too much basketball, too many years. And my orthopedic friend said that's not going to be good for you. And then, and he was right. And then I do a treadmill. I like to walk outside. I mean, in the summer, I'll play tennis. My family's always been into tennis, and my brother and his son both play.
Do you ever get bored visiting all these schools?
Jordan, only at St. Peter's. The other 36 Catholic schools right now. This is my 8th year visiting schools. It's an opportunity to see our young people and to affirm them, and also to thank the parents for making the sacrifices that it takes to send you to a Catholic school. So I think it's very important, and it's a nice respite in the middle of my workday to take a couple hours and go to a school.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food? Well, they're trying to get me to be interested in Philly cheesesteaks, obviously being new to Delaware. But I like Italian food. I've always liked anything Italian. I love pasta. I'm Irish, of course, so that would probably be a surprise. But I've always liked Italian food, any kind of pasta.
Who is your favorite saint?
What do you think my favorite saint is?
I'm not sure.
Take a guess.
St. Francis.
Well, that would be a good guess. I like the Blessed Mother best. You would never get that. She's our mother, and I do like St. Francis. I was named after St. Francis Xavier. Of course, our diocese is patron of St. Francis de Sales. Of course, our Holy Father took the name Francis after St. Francis of Assisi. So we have a lot of Francis connections here in the Diocese of Wilmington.
Have you ever met the Pope?
I have. I've met 3 popes now. I met St. John Paul II probably about 20 times between 1989 and 2004. In fact, the crucifix I'm wearing he gave to me in 2004, the year before he died. And then Pope Benedict I met right before I was appointed here. I became a bishop in 2000. I was an assistant bishop in Baltimore for 8 years. Came here in 2008, so I met Pope Benedict several times. And then I met Pope Francis in Washington at St. Matthew's Cathedral. I go. If the camera's good, you can pick up my greeting him, and when I was there with, I think we had about 300 bishops, and about 45 of us had a chance to greet him personally. So,
What's Pope Francis like?
I'm sorry?
What's Pope Francis
like? All 3 are very good. It was very quick in meeting Pope Francis, so I didn't have a chance to really talk with him. It was like, I think someone taped it. It was 5 seconds and about 12 pictures, because they keep snapping pictures. But I mean, his whole emphasis on social justice, care for the poor, the year of mercy. I mean, all the things that he really is strong for are things that we need not only in our country but in the world. Pope Benedict I found to be very personable and warm. A lot of times people saw him as so heavily theological and intellectual, but one-on-one he had a really nice way of interacting. So I always enjoyed those visits. And the same with St. John Paul II. He was much more crowd-oriented in the sense, much like Francis. but one-on-one, he also was very warm and very engaging.
Thank you.
Actually, I met two. Yeah, I met Mother Teresa. She was in Baltimore back in the 90s to bring a couple of women into her community. So Cardinal Keeler, my boss there, and I were at had mass for them. And yeah, it is. I mean, and even back then, you knew that this woman was on the fast track because she was so good. And with John Paul too. I mean, there was a lot of acclamation. It's only been 11 years since he died. A lot of acclamation for naming him the saint automatically, which is what would have happened in the Middle Ages. They would have had, if Francis was an Assisi and they looked at him and once he saw what he did, once he died, they would just kind of acclaim him the local saint.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice to be interviewed. Thank you.